Welcome back to Building Wars, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dulcie Horwitz.
Yes, welcome. I'm Brianna.
And tonight we have another pretty interesting matchup.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
It is a fun one. This one is the Tyrell Corporation stands up against Darth Vader's palace on Mustafar. Again, I have to say that I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I don't know how this one's going to
I don't know who's going to come out on top, to be honest.
Ooh.
I mean, Tyrell Corporation from a movie from 1982, supposedly in Los Angeles, but in a future Los Angeles. And Darth Vader's palace from Rogue One, a 2016 movie that takes place on Mustafar planet. The context is probably couldn't be any different.
Yeah.
But both of them try to get at what is a heroic building. So, are you ready?
Ready.
Here we go. Round one. Materiality. I'm going to let you take Vader's on this one for materiality.
I do like the kind of black granite.
Earthen.
Very Vader. I mean, it's not slick. It has like a texture. It has an earthen kind of texture to it. But when you compare it to Tyrell Corporation, still stone, chunky. But one, I feel like Vader's is a little bit more sleek here. And Tyrell, it has these relief moments. It actually has a little bit of ornamentation going on it.
I mean, if you're just looking at the materiality of these two buildings, Vader is very expressive, and I think appropriately so, and it achieves what it wants to express easily and well. As far as the materiality for Tyrell, it needs to express a different sort of urban, sort of futuristic, sort of archetypal in its overall shape, but the materiality itself is very thin and very layered and almost lace-like. This one's a toss-up for me at the moment, although we have been told that the tie situation will not stand. So from now on, we have to actually make a serious vote one way or the other.
No, this is a tough...
Well, I think I'm going to cast my vote, maybe oddly in a way that you wouldn't think, but I'm actually going to say that the materiality of the Darth Vader palace probably wins for me over Tyrell in this situation.
Me too, actually.
They're both excellent at it, but the materiality of Darth Vader's palace expresses exactly what it needs to express, and it does it really well.
Yeah, it does it well with the context as well.
Correct. All right, going on to round two. To round two, we had already started to talk a little bit about this, but the ornamentation. I have to tell you, the ornamentation on Vader's palace is exactly what it needs to be, which is very little. And it's almost more like the shape of the building itself is the ornamentation. But I'm sorry, I have to cast my vote straight away. Hands down winner, Blade Runner for ornamentation on the Tyrell Corporation.
Yeah, me too.
All right, blazing right along into the third round here. Light.
Ooh,
Hard one.
These two are interior shots. I mean, I see the light, but I'm really kind of seeing it makes these columns stand out that are happening inside. In Vader's, it's the sheen on that like catwalk that kind of makes that outside inside as well.
Well, I'm going to have to say on this one, I think it's in Vader's, I think it's actually more about the lack of light, ladies and gentlemen, than it is actually about light.
True.
Tyrell Corporation has to span this 1 foot in the dark world of making artificial human beings and 1 foot in the light world of maybe that's okay, right? Whereas Darth Vader's palace is just straight up bad guy 24/7.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No question about it.
Exactly. So there's very little light that's allowed to enter into
You're right on that.
Vader's
You're
palace.
right.
Fortunately, because ladies and gentlemen, I will admit I am a deep Blade Runner fan. Deep Blade Runner fan.
I mean, I think we both are, which is why that last one is really tough.
Right. But I'm going to have to give it to Vader on this one again, because I think the lack of light is actually the
more enticing
wisps.
to you?
Yes, I think it's perfect for what it was supposed to achieve.
I'm actually going to give it to Tyrell Corporation for the contrast that it's given you. Yeah.
All right. Well, then there you go. Moving on to round 4, when we have spatial qualities.
Ooh.
I have to say on this one, I think that it's very difficult to decipher what the spatial qualities are in Vader's palace.
Yes.
2 situations, the outside and the inside, because there's only one or the other, which is very black and white, which is very you are with me or you are not with me. Tyrell, however, is varied. You know, there's going to be 80 million implied spatial relationships between those things and around the columns. You know, I'm a huge fan of the hypostyle hall, and that's what they're emulating there, which is also very archetypal. I don't know. Let's go to you on this one.
I mean, a lot is left for imagination with this one. And I must say, when I imagine these spaces, the Vader one, I imagine either like these vast, heavy spaces, which I think is actually like almost cathedral-like. And in Tyrell's, I kind of imagine like
Office building?
I imagine office spaces.
Because it is.
Because it is. I mean, I know that big shot that we got going there is like, it's large, there's very little in it, and those columns are big, but the way that I envision the rest of the space, it not as cool.
I
as
hate to
think
say
the
it, but I
Vader.
think you've influenced me on that one. I
Oh.
think you've made a good point. I'm going to tip it over to the Vader for this one because it's probably implied, of course. Because
Implied,
we don't
yes,
know.
we don't know.
Right.
We only get a couple of shots here.
Correct.
I'm giving it to Vader.
Me as well. Okay, and on to the final category, ladies and gentlemen. Last and final round of storytelling.
In contrast with what I just said is that the storytelling for Vader, it's kind of all out there.
Right, and
That's
it's kind
it.
of a little on the nose.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
it's a one idea kind of thing.
He's making a statement,
Right.
and that's it. Take it or leave it.
But there's kind of a labyrinthian thing going on with Tyrell Corporation. I like that the shot on the bottom there where you can see the cantilevered forms of the other office buildings in the background.
I do think context is doing more for Vader than I think his actual building, as with the storytelling.
Sure.
I think that the Tyrell, if you just looked at the building itself, I do think that tells more about the city of Los Angeles. I can imagine what the rest of the city looks like just from this one building, where with Vader's, I mean, I'm kind of
I don't know.
unsure.
With Vader's, I have to say that if you put even that in the middle of a city, I'd be like, oh boy, someone very dark lives here. It's like Falling Water's
unwavered.
evil twin.
Yeah,
it's got a lava river running through the bottom instead of like a nice Pennsylvania river.
But you see, with Vader's, I don't really imagine it in a city.
Right. I don't think it's possible,
I don't.
right?
I
mean,
I
it
look
requires
at it
that
yes,
context.
it has that Lord of the Rings, like, you know, I mean, it only really belongs in like
But it's a
lava
one-note-
planet.
Right, but it's a one-note building, obviously.
Yes. Yes.
So, and we're not allowed to do ties? Is
no,
that
we're not, and I'm giving it to Tyrell. This one I'm giving to Tyrell.
I'm going to give it to Vader then.
Oh, that's how you're going to split it?
That's how I'm going to do the tie.
Let
You
me
see
make
that, ladies
my
and gentlemen?
vote
I'm
first.
thinking. Vader has 6 points.
Ooh,
Tyrell 4 points. Oh, so sorry,
I'm
Blade
surprised
Runner.
by that one.
I am surprised too. But when you look at it, when you match up the techniques for all those categories, right, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Again, two very deserving competitors.
Yes, yeah, they both do it well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us tonight on Building Wars. We'll see you again.